Hello, Libra. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Cosmic Slumber Tarot by Tilly Walden. There's how you spell Tilly's name. There's a website at the bottom, liminal11.com. Feel free to check that out if you'd like to, of course. Supportive Oracle Cards, Energy Oracle Cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. The website I got in the back of the book is HayHouseRadio.com. I think if you take out radio, though, it'll take you right to Hay House. Who knows? If you go to the direct website, it might give you a link back to it. But of course, if you look up Sandra Ann Taylor and Energy Oracle Cards, you should easily find something of value. Okay, what do we have for Libra? My first thought is I feel very isolated here. Very isolated. Very isolated. I'm trying to work with what's going on here. This one card popped up. You're definitely trying to do your thing. It's interesting, with the Six of Pentacles, it does usually remind me of Libra because it balances things out. It's an Earth card, obviously, and you're an air sign, I know. But it does remind me of balancing things out, and you're trying to do your best to make something good come forward for you. Somebody here, the thing is, somebody's showing you possibilities, right? And you're trying to work with this, and you're trying to make this work out. This seems to be like that makes sense to me. Somebody showing you possibilities, you're like, oh, I like a couple of these. Let me see what I can do to make that kind of come to fruition, or make something happen with it. It's a rational response. It is a rational response. But I feel like they're kind of caught up in a little bit of fantasy here. The card that's not working, this is like what's holding things back, is they're excited about something and they very much like it, but it might be just flat out just dreams. The Six of Cups is telling me about somebody's history. They may have done something in the past, or maybe they've seen somebody else do it in the past. Maybe they've seen somebody else do it in the past. Be careful of that. Because what I'm getting when it comes to reality, it's not there. There's not enough there to make this happen. The financial constraints is there, and it just does not feel very enjoyable. I don't know about this. I'm feeling like somebody's giving you information, but it's feels very holy. Like there's a lot of missing something here. It's kind of like somebody, I love food, so I'm going to go for this. Somebody's telling you about this awesome, great cake that there was some pudding in it, and they not pudding, what do you call it? Jello. Maybe they used they did one of those Jello cakes, and they used Cool Whip to do this, that, and the other thing, or whipped cream, whatever, and they had some fresh strawberries, and then they did this border, and they had some color here, and color. It was the best tasting, and it was so beautiful, blah, 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 blah. They're telling you about, yeah, and this is how they did, this is how you do this, and this is how you do that. But I feel like when they're explaining this, they're saying, this is how you do the whipped cream, this is how you do the cake. And they're telling you, but it's secondhand information, it's not experience. They didn't make this cake, they haven't created those processes. Somebody told them how they did it, and they're secondhand telling you that information, which means they could easily be leaving out information that's very important. Kind of like a Jello cake, from what I understand. I haven't heard anybody making that recently. Is basically you make a cake, and then I think what you do is you take a toothpick, you poke holes in it, you make up the Jello, and then the Jello kind of sinks down in it, and then you refrigerate it, and then it's like it makes it very moist and delicious, something like that. So it's kind of like this person's leaving out the information about, like, they don't realize maybe this person, they cut off the top layer of the cake, the crust of it, and then they just they put it in that way, maybe something like that. With the Cool Whip, like some people put vanilla pudding, I think it's instant vanilla pudding, in their Cool Whip or their whipped cream. I should stop saying Cool Whip. The whipped cream to make it hold up better, but also it gives it some vanilla flavoring. So people like that, or you can use different flavors of it, obviously. But they don't know this information. They're leaving out that information. That's the point. They don't know it. They don't know it because they didn't actually do it. That's why everything feels so isolated to me, is what I'm getting. They're taking a memory that they have, history that they have of an experience, but I feel like they ate it, they didn't create it. It's kind of like that's what I'm getting with the cake. Like, they ate the cake, somebody told them what it was to make the cake, but they didn't create the cake. So they think they know what they're doing, but maybe they really don't. You know what I'm saying? Especially, like, for example, I'm going to go back to the whipped cream as an example. From what I understand, if you try to use cook pudding to stiffen your whipped cream, I don't think it works. I think you have to use instant. But if you don't know that and they don't say that, you could end up using it and then, like, this didn't work. I mean, it has some vanilla flavor, but it didn't work. I don't understand what's going on here. Like, there's problems like that going on. I think you get it. I'll stop with that. Because I'm getting you're going to expect success. This is the card that's not happening. The Six of Wands is success, but it's not happening. And the Envy's, no, it's indecision. Envy's over here too, because you're going to end up with a bad outcome. You're trying to understand, well, why doesn't this work? That's what they said to do. Why doesn't this work? Because they didn't really know what they were doing. Because they really didn't know what they were doing. Hopefully this is helping before you get into this mess. I'm hoping, because you're honestly going in it. You're trying to make something happen. You got the King of Fire. You're trying to go in there like, that sounds great. I'm going to make this cake. That sounds great. That sounds perfect for this. With the information I've got, I'm going to try to make this happen. We're just saying maybe you don't know how, you don't know how these things work. So it's a subject where you don't already have the information. So if you know about cooking, great, cool. But you know what I mean. You get the point. Because I'm getting like there's a lot lacking here and you don't realize it. There's a lot lacking. And you're trying to make something happen with basically faulty information. You're really excited to make it happen. I feel like you keep trying to make it work. It doesn't seem to work. And you're kind of like, I don't understand. I'm doing what they said to do. Why doesn't it work? The person who told you what they told you doesn't know what they're talking about. Take it with a grain of salt. This is a general read, so take it with a grain of salt. I feel like basically they don't know what they're talking about. When the outcome comes forward, and you ask them, like, well, I tried to do this with the pudding and it didn't really work. Was there something else you did with it? Oh, well, I had it. It was a dessert I had, but I didn't make it. I mean, this bakery over here made it. And you're like, what? A bakery made it? You didn't make that? A bakery made that? Like a professional bakery? Oh, okay. I feel like they're going to own up to it. I don't know if I don't see like it came forward maliciously. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a giant grain of salt. Like, are they going to admit to this, or what is that coming forward with the Five of Cups? Is there anything else that I'm missing? Eight of Pentacles. No, the Justice card comes forward. They're going to tell you, oh, well, this was some more information. Like, they give you, like, well, this is where I got it from. Or maybe they might even say, well, maybe they didn't get it from a bakery. Maybe it was, like, a friend of theirs or a relative. And they're like, well, actually, this person, if you go on to them and friend them on Facebook or whatever you got going, or maybe you connect with them on Instagram, you can make friends with them and maybe they'll tell you how they did it. Maybe they have something on there where they can show how they did it. I feel like they'll say, oh, well, I didn't do it. Somebody else did it. But here's where you can maybe find more information about that. I do feel when you get that next piece, if you hold the line, which I feel like that's whatever this situation is, hold the line. When you get the correct information, it's going to take 2 to 3 more tries, but you will get success. Is this the nine of fire? Keep going. It might take 2 to 3 more tries, but you will get your success. So, for example, if you're trying to make this awesome cake, because apparently I'm in a cake mood, the first time was a sad moment. It was a sad moment. Yeah. The second time, it might not quite come out perfect, but it'll be better. The third or fourth time, it'll be exactly the way you want, and you will get the outcome you want. So based on the outcome you're looking for, how important that outcome is, Try 2 to 3 more times. You will get the level you're looking for. It will happen. I feel like they're also kind of like, if we're going to do the cake analogy, okay, because again, it's better to test out like a small cake, or maybe try it out on a cupcake. Make a small batch, so that way you can do it. That way if it gets screwed up, it's just a little one. Because once you succeed with a cupcake or a small cake, like maybe just a small cake, a small cake. Once you succeed with a small cake, then you can test a big cake and then make sure it works out the way you need to. That way you can be like, all right, it worked on a small level. Let me make sure, and I'll try it on a large level. Okay, that works now too. Cool. That way, for example, I'm in the cake mood apparently. It seems to me if you make a small cake in certain aspects, it'll hold up differently than a larger cake. Like if you think of a wedding cake, like they have 3 tiers, they're big cakes. If you have a small one, you put 3 tiers on a small like cupcake size thing, that won't be that big of a deal. It'll stay together like it's supposed to. But if you get a big one and it doesn't have the supports in between the layers, from what I understand, it could implode on itself. It could, not go well. So it's kind of like, try it on a smaller scale. Once you get it correctly working on a smaller scale, test it on a larger scale, make sure it works the way you need it to, move it forward. They're just saying don't give up. Because I feel like there's I'm not happy, I'm really frustrated with this, but I do see this can work out, this can happen. Go back to where you originally got the information when you start having issues, and double check it with them, because I feel like you're gonna, but make sure you have enough time to really I feel like what we want here is we want a moment where they have to, not where they have to talk to, but kinda. So for example, if you're this person's kinda always busy, because I'm getting the strength card twice, it makes me feel like this is somebody who's always busy, very strong person but very busy. If you kind of get them to okay, hey, I'll pick you up, for work. Could we carpool for work tomorrow? I'll pick you up. And maybe it's a half-hour ride to work. Start that conversation when they get in the car, and that way you got a half hour and they're just there. They're like a captive audience. They're stuck. And that way you can get your answers, and you can find out, oh, okay, you didn't actually make it. You knew somebody else who did. Well, who was that? Can I talk to that person? Or is there what's the official name of this cake? Maybe I can find it online. Maybe I can find other people who've made it. It does work out in the end. I do see it working out in the end with the chariot. It does seem to work out in the end. It's just like a rough road. It's a very rough road. I'm getting, if you hold to this and you keep going with it, and you kind of I feel like, I hope this isn't true for a lot of you, but the first failure probably already happened. I feel like what they're saying is try again, go back, try to find the information, try again, try it on a smaller scale, test it out a couple more times, because you're probably going to have to do it 2 to 3 more times before it works out right. Then when you got it, try it on a larger scale, and you'll get that success, because it seems like this success is very important to you. So if this reading is hitting, I'm feeling like whatever it is that we're going for, you really do want it. So they're saying go about it that way. You should be fine. You should be able to do what you want. It's a rough road, but I feel like they're saying don't give up. Don't give up. You got this. Don't give up. Because it's really, I feel like when I see this envy card, it's very frustrating. It's kind of like this should have worked, and it's kind of like I just want to go and do something else. But they're saying do yourself a favor, hold to it. Go back to where where the information was supposed to be correct, and see if you can find out where they got it from. Maybe that's the trick to this too. Maybe that's the one piece I'm missing. In case they're kind of not directly answering that it's not they didn't create the cake, they just ate the cake. Ask them where they got the recipe from, for example. Where did you learn this from? Go that direction. Where did you learn this from? Because there's something I'm screwing up. Maybe there's a technique I can learn a little bit better. Something like that. Something like that. Where did you learn this from? That might be the easier way to get what you need out of the situation. Alright, I think we're there. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.